headlines. Israel launches airstrikes on southern Lebanon as Hezbollah's leader vows punishment after a wave of explosive device attacks killed dozens of people. The BBC reveals that the former boss of the luxury department store Harrods, the late Mohammed Al-Fayed, has been accused of rape by 5 female ex-employees. A team of scientists say it's beyond reasonable doubt the COVID pandemic started with infected animals sold at a market rather than a laboratory leak. Can China play a peace-brokering role in Myanmar's ongoing civil war? We have a special report from the Chinese border with Myanmar. And as polls show Kamala Harris and Donald Trump neck and neck in the U.S. presidential race, we're in Michigan, one of the crucial swing states. Now, we're going to stay in the U.S. and give you a bit of baseball news for you because Japan's Shohei Ohtani has made MLB history. He's become the first player to hit 50 home runs and steal more than 50 bases in a single season. The LA Dodgers slugger completed the feat against the Miami Marlins. Now, baseball has a huge following in Japan, and he's become one of the biggest stars in the game.
Our headlines today. The BBC is contacted by more women who say they were assaulted by the former boss of Harrods, Mohammed Al-Fayed, when they worked for him.
Rising tensions in the Middle East. Israel carries out dozens of strikes on southern Lebanon as Hezbollah's leaders warn that red lines have been crossed.
Domestic abuse specialists will be embedded in 999 control rooms as part of a plan to halve violence against women.
Good morning. A gravy train for government lawyers. That's how a furious Sir Alan Bates has described the schemes to redress victims of the post office scandal. I'll explain why.
When in the training ground, everybody knew I was in because I was always singing through the corridors.
And we sit down with former Manchester United boss Sir Alex Ferguson, who's created the soundtrack to his life as part of a dementia project.
More than 1,000 people in the northeastern region of Emilia-Romagna in Italy have been evacuated from their homes as Storm Boris continues to cause severe flooding across Europe. The EU says it's providing more than £8 billion in funding for affected areas. Reform UK will begin its party conference in Birmingham today, saying it plans to win the next general election. This comes one day after Nigel Farage announced he's relinquishing his majority shareholding of the party. We'll take a look at the papers. The Telegraph is leading on the Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer denying he's lost control of Downing Street. It reports that tensions in Number 10 and questions over Chief of Staff Sue Gray's salary threaten to overshadow the Labour Party conference.
Let's have a look at The Guardian, leading with Hezbollah leader threatening Israel with tough retribution and just punishment. In a speech on Thursday, he also threatened to strike Israel where it expects and where it does not. Let's have a look at The Times. Reporting that Chancellor Rachel Reeves has been provided with a £10 billion budget boost by the Bank of England, which is increasing pressure on her to ease spending cuts and tax rises. The paper says Labour MPs are calling for the cash to be used to delay scrapping some pensioners' winter fuel payments.
And the Mirror is picking up with a story we're covering here this morning. Headlines with Shop of Horrors. The BBC story on the former Harrods owner pictured there. You can see Mohammed Al-Fayed. The Mirror says at least 100 women are feared to have been sexually abused by the retail tycoon.
A campaign group made up of local parents is prepared to take Havering Council to court over continuing fires at a landfill site. Clean Air in Havering says it wants to challenge the council's decision not to designate Arnold's Field in Launders Lane as contaminated. The land has caught fire more than 100 times in the past 5 years. Havering Council has declined to comment. The Crystal Palace subway will open to the public tomorrow as part of the Open House Festival following years of restoration work. The Grade 2 listed subway used to link the now demolished Crystal Palace station with the palace itself. The reopening of the subway marks the first step in the wider regeneration of Crystal Palace Park.
If your child is a picky eater, there may be some news you might be interested in.
Scientists from University College London have discovered that being fussy about food has less to do with parenting skills and more to do with genetics. Having family meals together, offering children a variety of fruit and vegetables could help, particularly during the toddler stages. But the bad news is that the fussy eating can last well into teenage years. What have you learned from that?
Well, I just saw a picture of a baked potato.
Did that make you want to bake a baked potato?
No, not really. No, no, it didn't look very appetising.
Oh,
It didn't look very appetising at all. What we should have had really there is pictures of really lovely food, shouldn't we? Because that's the best way to encourage people to eat, just more generally, have great food.
I would not the baked potato. I think the baked potato is a marvellous
I'm not
meal.
knocking the baked potato, I'm just saying I didn't particularly want one, and that one didn't look very nice.
I'm now thinking of
I don't
baked
like
potato.
them covered in slop either, you know. People pile loads of stuff on the baked potato.
We're getting a lot of insight into you this morning, aren't we, already?
Just have it simple with a little bit of butter. Perfect. I don't want it filled with lots of things.
Wow, you're like the baked potato police. Sarah, you scared? Like, seriously, like, the baked potato police are in the house.
Absolutely. I mean, I think, Charlie, that's a little bit of a boring baked potato. With just butter on it. Sorry. Just throw it all in. Beans, cheese.
Ouch.
It's going to be a good morning.
Enough of the weather. That's enough of the weather. We don't want to hear it.
Morning,
You might
Sarah.
not want to hear it. Yeah, good morning to you both.
Lawyers for women who've accused Mohammed Al Fayed of sexual assault call him a monster. The day after the BBC broadcast a documentary accusing him of multiple rapes, former staff have spoken publicly in a press conference and said they were threatened by him.
He told me in no uncertain terms that I was never to breathe a word of this to anyone. If I did, I would never work in London again, and he knew where my family lived.
Also on tonight's programme.
Donations of clothing worth thousands of pounds to Sir Keir Starmer and some of his top team were recently laid bare. But in the past hour, it's been confirmed that he, Rachel Reeves and Angela Rayner will accept no such donations in future.
A strike on Beirut. Israel says it's killed a senior Hezbollah commander. A new warning for people with peanut allergy to avoid eating foods which contain mustard. And as Parkrun celebrates its 20th birthday, I've been finding out why the weekly 5K has become so popular.
And in London, a rape is reported every hour of every day. But there are concerns that the true number of offences could be far higher. We hear from victims.
Still to come, captured at last, Cinnamon the capybara, who escaped from a zoo in Shropshire, has been caught.
Also coming up, a police officer who held a taser to a boy's neck gets a warning but keeps his job. And your chance to pick up some TV memorabilia. Can you guess where it's from? Two men have appeared in court over the murder of a 17-year-old girl shot dead 6 years ago in North London. Tanisha Melbourne Blake was fatally shot from a vehicle in Tottenham. Marcus Lacroix from Hackney and Michael Clark from Luton have pleaded not guilty. Their trial has been set for March. 5,000 commuters who had their details hacked in a cyber attack have been contacted by Transport for London, who've advised on what action to take. The hack included names, contact details and some bank account numbers and sort codes. TfL says the sophisticated cyber attack is still ongoing. A campaign group made up of local parents says it's prepared to take Havering Council to court over continuing fires at a landfill site. The Clean Air in Havering group says it wants to challenge the council's decision not to designate Arnold's Field as contaminated. The land has caught fire more than 100 times in 5 years. Havering Council declined to comment. And you can find lots more stories on our website. Its usual address, bbc.co.uk/London.
A woman who was airlifted to hospital after an explosion destroyed a bungalow in Kent has died. 5 fire engines were called to tackle the fire at the flattened home near Ashford on Thursday morning. Kent Fire and Rescue Service confirmed her death after the fire and are investigating the cause. And 2 blocks of flats have been damaged and trees brought down in Aldershot because of a tornado. Rushmore Borough Council said nobody was injured. More thunderstorms and downpours are expected across the weekend.